23:13. Now this is where it gets very interesting. Then placed him as a drop, between brackets, of seed, in a safe lodging. How are we to interpret that? Now, in 12, man is already created from a product of wet earth. So if we're looking at 13, where man is placed as a drop in a safe lodging, the only way this can be equated with anything remotely like any sort of medical knowledge is if we equate that with implantation into the womb. Implantation, because as a seed in a safe lodging means it must have been planted into the ground or embedded into the uterine lining. So if we then look at 23:14, let's look at what it says. Then, which is a clear indicator of temporal relationship with the previous verse as following on from it. We fashioned the drop a clot, then fashioned the clot a little lump, then fashioned the little lump bones, then clothed the bones with flesh. Now first of all, I want to point out to you that even if you look at that at the most basic level, we're looking at 4 stages, not 3. Fashioning the drop a clot, fashioning the clot a little lump, fashioning the little lump bones, clothing the bones with flesh. Then, 4 stages. Secondly, no matter how liberally you interpret this, it cannot represent an accurate description of embryology. Listen, clot, lump, then fashioned we the lump bones, then clothed the bones with flesh. So according to the Qu'ran, bones are formed first, flesh is added later. Now I don't know what sort of textbook people will look at, but if you look at any modern textbook on embryology, you will see clearly that the fetus is created first and bones form at a later stage. Then let's have a look at the words that are being used here. Because the claim is that this is the sort of knowledge that people couldn't have possessed when the Quran was created 1400 years ago. Look at the words. We fashioned to drop a clot. We fashioned a clot a little lump. We fashioned a little lump bones, and so on and so forth. I've already dealt with those. What I want to concentrate on here is the words clot and lump. Now, 1400 years ago, people were dying in childbirth. People were dying during pregnancy. But more importantly, 1400 years ago, people were having miscarriages. And I don't know whether you've ever been through a miscarriage, Mrs. But at the early stage of a pregnancy, what you see coming out is clots of blood. And at a later stage of pregnancy, the evidence of a miscarriage is lumps of matter. There are no distinguishing features to the naked eye, but that is what it looks like. So to pretend that this sort of knowledge was not available to people 1400 years ago is a lie. There is no other word for it. It's a lie. It's a blatant, barefaced lie. And like I said, it doesn't then generate the bones, and it doesn't then add flesh to the bones. That is wrong as well. I don't know whether you've ever bothered your ass looking at modern photographs or pictorial representations of early embryos and fetuses. But I can tell you, rest assured, they look nothing like clots or lumps. They look like intricate, beautiful pieces of human tissue. They have clear structure to them. They are amazing to see. They are not clots. They are not lumps. So what we can conclude from that is that the Qu'ran contains as accurate information as is possible for the level of medical knowledge at the time. And that now is hardly surprising, is it? So the question really isn't, is the Qu'ran a piece of shit? No, the question should be, is your Qu'ran a piece of shit? And the only person who can answer that question is you. Are you going to insist that your Qu'ran contains magical, scientifically accurate information, such as embryology, or mountains that are pegs that stabilize the earth, or obscure verses that refer to nebula in the sky that nobody at the time could have seen with the naked eye? Then yes, your Qu'ran would be a piece of shit. But if, however, you want to tell me that your Qu'ran is a magnificent religious text that you want to use to live your spiritual life by, then no. In that case, your Qu'ran is not a piece of shit. But the choice can only be yours, not mine.